I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is February 9th, 2022, and this is a regular meeting of our governing board. Mrs. Nye, can you do our roll call, please? Here.
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 Joel Worth.
Here.
Thank you. Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a few moments for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We'll start with a little bit of routine business. Our first is to approve the minutes of the January 26th regular board meeting. Could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 26, 2022 regular board meeting as presented.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of the January 26th board meeting, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, we have to approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers. Could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers.
Second.
All those in favor of approving and ratifying payroll and accounts payable vouchers, please say aye.
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 The motion carries. Mr. Narducci, do we have any correspondence today?
Madam President, there is no correspondence at this time.
Thank you. Next, we have our student body president report. We have two student body presidents here, Megan Finder from Hamilton High School and Nathan Lamb from Perry High School. And we'll start off with Megan Finder from Hamilton High School. Megan, thank you for coming this evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Finder. I'm the student body president of Hamilton High School. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak about what's happening on our campus. Shortly following my last presentation on December 8th, Hamilton Student Government hosted our winter sports assembly out on our football field. Two dance groups performed, and we introduced our winter sports teams as we rallied together once more before the end of the semester. After a restful break, HHS welcomed our future Huskies to CTE tours. The career and technical education classes are essential to one's high school career, and the field trip is always filled with fun and excitement. Led by our Air Force Junior ROTC, the 8th graders toured our CTE classes. Another opportunity to showcase our school was the 8th grade orientation. Parents and future Huskies were invited to explore Hamilton and all we have to offer. The beginning was similar to an assembly, and out in our main hallway were clubs and classes with their very own booths. These booths showed how individualistic the high school experience can be. Student government had our own booth with decor, our convention flag, and of course, all of our school spirit. The Hamilton Chamber Choir visited CUSD Nutrition and brought some bright spirits to the kitchen. They also sang at the district office last semester following their holiday concert. Also in our music family at Hamilton, there's a winter ensemble for our percussion musicians and color guard members. I would also like to congratulate all of our all-region choir, orchestra, and band participants who went through the audition process and will perform with other very talented musicians this semester. Two of our wonderful dance teams were at nationals this past weekend. Palmline won 3rd and 9th in the nation, and Hamilton Dance Company won 10th and 12th in the nation for their respective categories. These teams celebrated at Disney World in Florida and surrounded by their families and with our Husky support from back home. Hamilton Cheerleading is ready to take on nationals this weekend. As the largest and most comprehensive high school in the state, we represent all categories in high school education and success. Regarding academics, we are so proud of our We the People team for winning first place in the state competition. The Husky Academic Decathlon team earned their 7th straight regional title. They hold the first place ranking as they prepare for their state competition in March. This is a photo of our DECA members. Some of these students worked to develop a social media campaign for the Risen Savior Early Childhood Center. This group is currently selling Valentines and delivering love across our campus. These are some photos of Hamilton's Chinese cultural and Mandarin classes that enjoyed an online language and culture class through Zoom. It was 4 p.m. in Arizona and 7 a.m. in this high school in China. Captain's Club is a group of athletes who have been working hard in our community. They have had few field trips to elementary schools and food banks, gathering with all ages and sharing lots of smiles. It's always a great day in the Husky Nation, but it's even better when we all gather to watch our winter sports. Boys and girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, and wrestling have all celebrated their senior nights, and they have great potential headed into playoffs. Our boys soccer team are the region champions this year. Our girls wrestling team is headed to state with 4 female wrestlers qualifying. A big congratulations to all of our Husky athletes. Student government plans to host a few more events this semester. We are delighted to have a full agenda, including our virtual multicultural assembly, Kindness Week and Random Acts of Kindness Day, our annual Movie on the Field night, Chandler Unified School District Convention, prom, Teacher Appreciation Week, and Senior Sunset. As always, we cannot do any of this without the support from our administration team, Principal De La Torre, and our 2 sponsors, Ms. Violet Richard and Ms. Tina Carriers. I am so grateful to work and represent an amazing group of students and faculty, and I'm excited for the rest of the semester. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. It's always fun to hear what's going on at our schools, so thank you for coming this evening. And next, we have Nathan Lamb from Perry High School. Nathan, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Narducci, and the Governing Board. My name is Nathan Lamb, and I'm the Student Body President at Perry High School. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to speak to you and the district, as there is a lot that has happened on our campus since our previous meeting that I would love to share with you tonight. Over the past 2 quarters, our athletics has thrived in national, regional, and state settings. To begin, our badminton team was named the state champions for the 5th year in a row. Seniors Emma Cross and Jaden Montano made it to the state doubles semifinals, and our advisor, Coach Lorena Johnson, was named the All-Division I Coach of the Year, All-Premier Section Coach of the Year, and All-Premier Region Coach of the Year. Our girls' cross-country team placed 5th at state. Taylor Lovell placed 7th at state for the All-State First Team and was named All-Premier Region Runner of the Year, and Alexis Pagel placed 18th for the All-State Third Team. Our boys' cross-country team placed 14th at state, and senior Matthew Camp placed 14th at state for the All-State Second Team. Our football team made it to the first round of state, and our boys and girls golf team both placed 10th at state. Our unified sports team is starting their competition season today in basketball and won their first game in the state qualifiers. Our boys swim and dive team placed 7th at state. Evan Nell was a state champion in the 200-meter individual medley and 100-meter backstroke and was named All-Premier Region Swimmer of the Year and is up for the AZ Central Player of the Year. The 400 meters freestyle relay of Evan Nell, Jackson Clark, Michael Lobero, and Michael Johnson placed 4th for a state medal. Our girls swim and dive team placed 6th at state. Senior Amaya Wiley was a state champion in diving, and the 200-meter medley relay of Deborah Abbott, Hannah Ernst, Chloe Convis, and Haley Mueller was a state runner-up. Alexia Jackson placed 4th in dive, and Haley Mueller placed 4th in the 100-meter backstroke for a state medal. Additionally, Coach Stephanie Carrasco was named All-Premier Region Coach of the Year. In our volleyball team, senior Jordan Swan was named AIA All-6A Conference Defensive Player of the Year and All-Premier Region Defensive Player of the Year, and Avery Burks was the AZ Central Athlete of the Week and is also running for AZ Central Player of the Year. This past week, our Perry Pom team competed for the 2nd time at the UDA Nationals in Florida and placed 4th in game day, 6th in pom, and 15th in jazz in the nation. Our Perry cheer team also won AIA Game Day States, AIA Stunt Regionals, and earned 2nd in AIA Show Cheer Regionals. They'll compete at states for Show Cheer on March 12th and are heading to the National High School Cheerleading Championship in Orlando this week, where they will compete against 105 teams from around the country. For our current sports roundup, our boys basketball team is currently ranked 4th in the state, girls basketball ranked 14th, girls soccer ranked 3rd, and our boys soccer is ranked 10th. In girls wrestling, Ariana Mach was named the regional champion and Amaya Hernandez the regional runner-up, both qualifying for the state tournament. And the boys wrestling regional championship is this weekend. The team finished as the Eagle Invitational team runner-ups, while Perry hosted the John Carlson Invite and the Puma Duels, both of which were a huge success. Aside from this, Perry is pleased to welcome Joe Ortiz as our new head football coach. We are extremely proud of the dedication our student athletes have to refining their practice, and our Student Body and Athletic Council is excited to support our winter sport teams and the rest of their seasons. In club news, in their January live audition, 6 Perry band students, 3 Perry orchestra students, and 5 Perry choir students all made it to the Southwest Regional Orchestra Band and Choir. They'll be working with a professional conductor at regional rehearsals and will have a concert at McClintock High School on February 19th. A small group of advanced sculpture students had their proposal selected for a juried show called Cactus Collective in Scottsdale. 5 students will paint and embellish an 8-foot-tall styrofoam cactus with their theme related to one of Arizona's 5 Cs. Students chose copper as their theme and will pay homage to the natural beauty of copper, the early Arizona boomtowns, and indigenous culture. The cactus will be on display for the month of March at Scottsdale Fashion Square. Culinary 1 students, Garrett Vanderzeel, Esme Fuentes Garcia, Katie Correa, Emily Barrato, and Jared Moreno won first place at the district chili competition in October. On the left is a picture of teacher Bessie's, Ms. Kemp, and Celaya enjoying Culinary 1 lab recipes. 3 senior Perry Culinary students also competed in the CCAP preliminary cooking competition at Paradise Valley High School. The students had to prepare a composed salad and 2 rolled French omelets all in 60 minutes. Students Jalen Sid, Isai Raya, and Evie Mesa did amazing jobs and will find out this Friday if they advance in the competition. And if they move on, they are guaranteed a scholarship starting at $125,000. The following slide shows some tasty dishes that our Culinary 1 students had learned over the past semester. Our HOSA club has also reached a diverse amount of fields in their recent competitions. Our HOSA Sports Med has 6 qualifiers for state in different events, as well as some regional winners. In prepared speaking, Sumaya Kintaga took first in regionals, Alejandra Gonzalez took second, and Kaden Herbeck took 4th in job-seeking skills. Additionally, Summer Mel took 4th in health career photography for regionals. These students all qualify for the State Leadership Conference in March. Clarissa Suwandi and Brianna Pryor also qualified for the state conference in family medicine. Our NHS also recently just hosted a blood drive this past week. We had a teeming amount of applications from our excited members to donate to the biggest blood provider in Maricopa County to hospitals and reach 140% of our blood donation goal. Oh, and these are some more pictures of our volunteers. In light of our recent accomplishments in our clubs, our counselor, Ms. Holly Cagle, was also recently awarded the Apple Achievement Award and would be honored at the District Night of Recognition on April 20th at the Chandler Center for the Arts. It's evident through our recent accomplishments here at Perry that our students are dedicated to their passions and are excited to create change, not only for the betterment of our campus, but our district and community. While our peers have been working hard to pursue their interests at our school, our council has also been diligent in creating memorable events for the student body. The beginning of our second quarter, we held our dark Victorian-themed dance, Midnight Manor, where we sold a record-breaking 1,600 tickets, creating a packed, sweaty, but exciting and fun night. In the same week, we also held our Homecoming Carnival, where over 30 clubs were represented by booths that reach out to the community. And we also held our Homecoming Parade along our bus lane, outdoor Homecoming Assembly, as well as decorated our hallways to our Midnight Manor theme. This past November, our council also attended our Arizona Student Council Regional Leadership Conference, where we heard from many guest speakers to expand our leadership roles and outreach while networking with other schools. We decked out in Olympic gear as the theme was Gear Up for Leadership and came both in and out of the event high-spirited, as Austin and Daniel are showing evidently in the picture on the right. In our second quarter, we took a turn from our homecoming theme and held our winter events, including our winter assembly, where our student body hyped up for BMX bikers, Winter Theme Spear Week, and more. Our council worked hard to make sure that these events not only surpass the quality standards that we've set ourselves in the past, but also unique and exciting for the student body. In December, our council held our annual Smiles for the Season event, where we invite kids from low-income families from elementary schools around the district to spend a day off enjoying holiday festivities. From having snowball fights to receiving gifts from Santa, our council made sure to make these kids' days special and unforgettable, as we were excited to host an event that directly reached out to our community. An integral part of the way Perry Stugo functions is through the understanding of each other's values and needs, and as the semester came to a close, our council held a winter banquet where we spent time together doing scavenger hunts, having a gingerbread competition, and watching each other fall as we ice skated to bond and dig deeper into our relationships. I can confidently say that our council grew tighter from the banquet because right after winter break, we held our annual talent show, Perry Idol, where we showcased Perry's talented students and sold another record-breaking 320 tickets, of which the proceeds were donated to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Already halfway into this quarter, our council is currently working diligently to prepare for Morphoria, our third quarter glitter-themed dance that will have glow foam, food trucks, and more, that is of course accompanied with a themed Spirit Week, hallway decorations, assembly, and more. 12 of our members are also excited to represent our school next week at the Arizona Student Council State Convention, where we will spend 3 days networking with other schools, learning from numerous guest speakers, and bonding day and night to come back to our school, teeming with ideas, passion, and growth to make the rest of this year amazing. As my quarters left in high school proceed to count down, I continue to be humbled and amazed by the talent, spirit, and dedication that our council and student body has to make change, to improve our school and society. I cannot wait to be present here once again to share all of the great things that continue to happen at Puma Nation, and I'm very grateful once more for the grand opportunity to represent my school and updating you on the impactful events and accomplishments this previous semester at Perry High. Before I leave, I have some gifts for you guys, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nathan. We appreciate you coming out and letting us know what's going on at Perry High. It looks like you've been really busy. Thank you so much. We will now move on to, we have a couple of special presentations this evening. Our first one is our Career and Technical Education Recognition Month. And here to talk to us about it is our Director of Career and Technical Education, Lindsay Duran.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. As some of you may already know, February is National CTE Month. And we wanted to come to you and really publicly recognize our CTE programs, our students, our teachers, and the hard work that they put in both in the classroom and outside the classroom. Before we get to that though, we have a fantastic, it's premiering today, just got hot off the press, Perry High Senior Grant actually created this for us, and so we want to show you this video.
Do you know what career and technical education is? Come, let us show you. CTE is academic excellence and innovation. CTE is designed for real-world applications. CTE is high-skilled, high-demand, and high-wage careers. CTE is cutting-edge technology. CTE is creating tomorrow's leaders. Do you?
Isn't that fantastic? Our students created our student created that. So I wanted to give you a little bit more background about CTE to kind of help you set the picture, and then I have students that are going to speak as well. So to kind of give you a little insight, here are some numbers. We have 80 CTE teachers at the high school level between the 6 campuses. We have 25 CTE teachers at the junior high. We have 18 programs that include anything from AP, honors, IB, dual enrollment courses within those 18 programs. And of all of that, over our 6 high school campuses, we have over 7,500 students across the high school programs in all of our 6 high schools. One thing I really want to point out, that when you are looking at CTE, here are the 18 programs, plus I threw in a couple more that we're looking to add at our Chandler High CTEC building next year. But CTE is for every kid. Doesn't matter if they're career bound, college bound, if they're going on level, if they're honors kids, if they're an IEP kid, it doesn't matter. CTE is for every single student. All are welcome and all are encouraged to participate. So as you can tell, 18 programs plus 2 more that we're adding the next year. That's why CTE is so important. This is what brings kids to our programs. So instead of just hearing from me because, I'm CTE, I'm going to, of course, brag and tell you how amazing they are. I'd rather you hear from the point of view of the students. So I have Basha High medical profession students here, Brooklyn, who's going to share her view of CTE.
Hi, I'm Brooklyn Walkendorf. I'm a senior at Basha High School enrolled in the medical professions program. This program has really opened my eyes for my passion for helping people and how I want to pursue a career in the medical field. For the past 4 months, my classmates and I have attended clinicals where we got to experience the joy that came from residents as we helped them throughout their day. It was also reassuring that the curriculum that was being taught to us in the classroom, we were able to apply in a real-world setting. Not only has this program helped me build relationships and compassion, but it has also given me a step up in my career path. I would just like to thank you for letting me speak in honor of the medical program.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Well, Grant, he's a man of few words, and I think he prefers to be behind the camera instead of in front of the camera, so I'm going to brag about him. Grant has been in our program now. He's a senior for 4 years. He is one of those go-to kids that when we need a video or if the site needs a video, that's who they call on, and he steps up. I can tell you when I asked to create this video, it just happens that my husband has a TV production company, and I said, hey, I need help. Can you help me write this script? We wrote the script. We went and met with Grant, and it was so professional. He sat down, and we went over what we were looking for, and he was like, no problem, Mrs. Duran, I got this. And sure enough, as you can tell, he did. He did a fantastic job. So really, it just speaks volumes for our programs about these two students, how fantastic they're doing and how fantastic our teachers are doing and how hard they work. There's a lot that CTE does and expects because of our grants, and our teachers work extra hard and have a lot of duties in addition to their normal classroom. So I just really want to say thank you to our CTE teachers, thank you to our CTE students for how hard they work, thank you for the site administration for supporting us and superintendency for supporting us, and of course governing board for approving us when we need to go to those competitions. And as you can tell from the Perry High in Hamilton, CTE is all over, and they are winning awards in all of our career and technical student organizations, and it's competition season. So we're excited, and hopefully you'll continue to hear more about the competitions that are coming from the student body presidents. If it's okay, we actually have a little gift to help show for you to help support CTE. So when you're out and about, you can show a little CTE mug as well. But thank you for your time. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for?
I do have a question. So that video that Grant made, where does that end up? Like, does that end up on the district website? Because it was really great and professional. You're okay.
Don't rush. So like I said, it is really hot off the press. We got it this morning. And so we'll be sharing it on our social media. We'll be putting it on CTE's website. And of course, we'll be sharing it with Terry Locke's department so they can share it as they see fit. But we have a handful of videos that come through that are we have film and TV at all of 6 campuses. And you'll see a couple of them that are posted on the CTE website as well.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Mrs. Duran, just a compliment and comment, and thank you for the work that you do, and Ken James in that area as well, to make our CTE programs viable for our students. But not only that, but you're always looking at growing programs and seeking student interest to be able to find out what they want to participate in, and then we grow those organically. So I want to thank you for looking at that, taking the feedback, taking the input, so that we provide programs that students really want to vest themselves in. So we appreciate the hard work that you do here in Chandler.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add to thank you and all the CTE teachers in the district. They've been asked to do a lot more over the last few years, including sponsoring clubs and preparing kids for assessments and trying to recruit kids to be completers. And it's like, You know, you got to jump through 42 hoops to do your job. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Great, thank you. We have a second presentation tonight celebrating Black History Month. And tonight, Dr. Adama Salou, Director of Equity and Inclusion, and her group will present the proclamation celebrating Black History Month and share experiences. Dr. Salou?
Good evening, Board President, Ms. Marsden, board members, our phenomenal Mr. Superintendent Aduchi, cabinet, family, friends, students. Tonight, we celebrate Black excellence. Tonight, we celebrate Black excellence. We have today with us our Black Student Union President and members. They're gonna step up to the podium and tell you what Black excellence looks like in CUSD, in Chandler, and in Arizona, and among our staff. So be ready to enjoy a celebration about Black excellence. We're gonna start with a video first from Camille Castile High School, where the BSU students are telling us what it means to them to be part of BSU at Camille Castile High School.
Hi, my name is Miss Black. I'm one of the sponsors of the Black Student Union here at Dr. Camille Castile High School. And the Black Student Union is going to tell you what the BSU means to them.
Comforting, passion, respect, strength, acceptance, unity, courage, loyalty, honor, character, wholeness, brotherhood,
Friendship,
teamwork,
hardworking,
community, united, empowerment,
sisterhood, family, culture,
driven, togetherness,
safe,
unique.
Hello, I'm Dr. Malcolm Jones, one of the sponsors for BSU here at Castile High School, and this is what BSU means to us.
And now, for the next several slides, you will see me. You're going to see CUSD finest this evening. Amari Mobley.
My name is Amari Mobley. I am a junior at Perry High, and I am Black Excellence. African American history is a significant part of American history and should be studied throughout the year. Since 1976 in the United States of America, February has been designated as a month in which especially memorable events done by African Americans should be recognized and celebrated. Chandler Unified School District has been positively shaped by the contributions of past and present employees, many African American leaders, administrators, educators, and student pioneers. This year, we pay homage to our Black educators, classified, certified, and administrative staff that serve all of our students in CUSD. We also pay homage to African American leaders in the city of Chandler and the state of Arizona. Chandler Unified School District continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. Now, therefore, on behalf of our governing board and superintendent in Chandler Unified School District, we proclaim the month of February 2022 as African American History Month, and we honor the contribution of past and present employees, many African American leaders, administrators, educators, and student pioneers. We urge all Chandler and Arizona residents to celebrate diversity and promote equity, inclusion, and excellence in our community as we commit to working towards the ideals of equality, freedom, and opportunity that our country represents.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Jones. I'm a senior at ACP High School, and I am Black Excellence. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about a lot of students who exhibit Black Excellence amongst USD, and I can only pick a few because if I didn't, I'd be talking here for hours. First off, we have Anya Hawkins, a senior at ACP High School. Anya is an all-region second-team soccer player in 3A Metro East. She's an academic letter recipient, a varsity soccer letter and pin recipient, a varsity track pin recipient, and she will be graduating this May and going to college this year. She's also planning on attending Texas A&M, Oregon State University, or Arizona State University to study aerospace engineering. From Basha High School, we have Aubrey Billups, who's actually here today with us. As a freshman, Aubrey passed both AP exams, enrolled in all AP classes in AP Seminar, AP World History, AP Human Geo, and AP Biology. She has also participated in girls basketball badminton, and she is a JV girls basketball captain and a BSU officer. She was also invited to this National Student Leadership Conference. Also from Basha High School, we have Michelle Banner. She is described by Mr. Marquez as an excellent all-around person. Earlier this school year, she was recognized as a National African American Scholar. Miss Drinkwater, a junior from Castile, is the secretary of Castile's Black Student Union, a member of Castile's Safe School Administrative Ambassadors Club, a student advisory board for the state of Arizona. And she plans on going to Howard University in fall 23, and her areas of interest are environmental science with a focus on sustainability. Henry Teffingler, a senior at Castile. He is a National Honor Society president and senior class president. Trey plans on attending Arizona State University in fall 2022 to study computer software and development. Malaysia Hardy, a senior at Chandler High. Malaysia is the student body president and described by her teachers as a born leader. She was one homecoming queen, enrolled in the IB program, and is a 4.0 GPA. She's an excellent student and voice at Chandler High School for all students. Malaysia is heading to Oregon State University in the fall to study psychology. Kenneth KJ Cooper is also a senior at Chandler High School. KKJ is a senior, and he is an all-around excellent student and a demonstrator of great character. He has a 3.3 GPA. He plays football at Chandler High School. KJ is a collegiate career is sports broadcasting. He currently does Wolf Lights, which is their school's weekly sports report. Ava McHale is a junior at Hamilton. She is on the Hamilton soccer team and has a 4.6 GPA. And then Maria McPhail is a sophomore at Hamilton with a 4.5 GPA. And then Maya Wiley is a senior at Perry. She has a 3.9 GPA, plans on attending ASU in the fall of 2022, and is Perry High School's first state diving champion. Amaya has earned a diving scholarship for ASU where she will compete next year. Titus Charles is another senior at Perry who has a 4.0 GPA, accepted at Yale and Stanford for the fall of 2022. And Titus played soccer at Perry. Thank you. And then me as a senior, I have a 3.5 GPA, and right now I have a current full ride scholarship to go play volleyball at New Mexico Junior College. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah Brown. I'm a senior at Basha High School, and I am president of our Black Student Union, and I am Black Excellence. Today, I'm here to present Black Excellence through CUSD staff. As you can see on the screen above, CUSD has a low percentage of African American staff members. When discussing these numbers with students of BSU, we discuss the importance of having people that look like us on campus and in these role model positions. Basha BSU feels as though we would be more motivated and interested to participate in both academic and extracurricular activities if we see an increase of Black representation within our staff. According to these numbers in CUSD, 3.1% of employees identify as Black. Of these 3.1%, 5% are in the administrative field, 2.2% are certified, and 4.1% are support staff members. Today, I would like to start off by celebrating Mr. John Prothro of Perry High School. Please stand. Mr. Prothro is the longest serving certified teacher in the Chandler Unified School District. Mr. Prothro has 35 years in the classroom, 27 of which are in CUSD itself. Today we honor you for serving as a mirror and a window for all CUSD students. You are indeed CUSD's finest. Thank you, Mr. Prothro. A little bit about Mr. Prothro's journey. He was at Sanborn Elementary for 7 years, CTA Liberty for 4, Willis Junior High for 8, Perry High School for 8. On behalf of the BSU presidents, we say thank you, Mr. Prothro. Next, I would like to recognize a few other administrators of excellence. Dr. Craig Gilbert, Assistant Superintendent. Dr. Adama Salou, Director of Equity and Inclusion. Mrs. Christina Lucas Sheffield, Principal of CTA Freedom. Mr. Michael Franklin, Principal at Chandler High. Mr. Sean Mitchell, Director of Chandler Early College. And thank you, that's it.
Good afternoon. I'm Jalen Jones. I'm a sophomore, actually, and I am the president at Castile's Black Student Union. Most of my speech got deleted. It's not up here. But what I wanted to talk about was more of, I wanted to talk about the Black excellence that is currently in our community and the change that is going. But first, I'd like to give a thank you to Councilwoman Ellis and then Councilman Harris. Who have scheduled and organized so many of our events that have been able to bring us closer together and actually influence a positive change in our culture and community to bring us farther together. So give them another warm. I'd also like to give a thank you because there are an incredible amount of Black. There are an incredible amount of Black people in authoritative positions who have really been able to influence and pave a path for us younger generation of minds and really show us the opportunities that we have available to us. And then also I'd like to give a thank you to all of the the Black-owned businesses who have been able to donate and provide and support for so many of these events, and just been a great help. And lastly, I just want to leave off with, we show joy, we show empowerment, we are loud, we are proud, and we are the encapsulation of Black excellence. Thank you. Miss Love? Oh, my bad. And then I'd also like to give, I thought that was one of our members. I'm so sorry. I'd also like to give a really warm thank you to Miss Lindsay Love, who's the first Black woman to serve on the CUSD governing board. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nzinga, and I'm the president of Chandler Black Student Union.
Hi, my name is Joya Norman. I'm a junior at Chandler High School and serve as the 2021-2022 Publicity Manager of BSU.
And we are Black Excellence. So on January 17th, we were celebrating 2022 MLK Keep the Dream Alive Award. The awards were given out to Black people to show their accomplishments within the community of Chandler. Here are the recipients. We have Mr. Michael Franklin, who is the principal at Chandler High School. We have Mr. Sean Mitchell, who is the rector at Chandler Early College. We have Dr. Adama Salou, who is the director, Equity and Inclusion. We have Mr. Jalen Jones, who is the president of Black Student Union at Castile. And we have me, Ms. Nzinga Iyakareme, who is the president of Black Student Union at Chandler High. Thank you.
Hello, first off, I want to say thank you for this opportunity today. My name is Jordan Ross. I am a senior at Hamilton High School, and I am the Black Student Union president there. A little bit about myself is I have a 4.3 weighted GPA, and I hope to become a doctor in the future. I am Black Excellence, and today I'll be speaking about Black Excellence today. It is hard to narrow down because we have so many amazing Black people in the community. But today I'll be speaking about Sion Proctor. Sion Proctor is an Arizona State University first alumni astronaut and professor. She went on a flight pilot on the Space Crew X Dragon Inspiration 4 in the fall of 2021. She is a geoscientist and science communication specialist, and she joined 3 other civilians on a 3-day space mission trip. Thank you. I would also like to have all the other members come up here, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We are CUSD and we are Black Excellence.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank you.
When I have my son's in South Korea, so everything, all my kids, all of them are survivors. Yeah. Each one of them is a great son, so I know which kid is calling me. My wife has a separate one. So it's one of those, like, because of this job.
What a great presentation. Thank you. We will now move on to our citizens' comments. And Terry Locke, our Director of Community Relations, will summarize the comments that we received online.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Narducci. As a courtesy, we provide an opportunity for the public to submit citizen comments electronically on any topic. This week, 3 people sent a total of 4 messages. Our feedback this week centered on the topics of personnel/administration and curriculum and instruction. Submitting comments electronically provides our governing board members time to read and prepare prior to the meeting. This format also provides the board an opportunity to ask clarifying questions to the administration. You have the submissions verbatim for your consideration. They are also available on the website for public review.
Thank you, Mr. Locke. We have 20 speakers this evening, and I have noticed that many of the comments are on Board Policy KB. Some of those changes came directly from the legislature, 15102, parent involvement in school, and I believe that after the speakers are up, Dr. Gilbert will probably have a couple of comments and or corrections about that particular policy. We will go for 2 minutes for each individual, even though we have 20 people tonight. Mr. Locke.
Yeah, during public comments, members of the governing board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to state statute, action taken as a result of public comments is limited to directing staff, like Mr. Gilbert, to review the matter, respond to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. The board president reserves the right to ensure that speakers present on topics that are within the board's jurisdiction. Everyone is asked to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profanity or threats of harm will not be tolerated. Our first speaker tonight is Kurt Rohrs of Chandler, talking about the budget.
Thank you. My name is Kurt Rohrs. I'm a parent in this district. I'm also a member of the budget committee. The budget process is ongoing, and what has been presented thus far is certainly subject to change. But I did want to bring one particular topic to your attention. Apparently, there's a carryover, roughly $24 million left over from the last year's budget, even if all proposed new expenditures are approved. My understanding from the business office is, in spite of the excess carryover amount, the district will continue to draw all authorized override funds through a property tax assessment, whether those funds are needed or not. My proposal to the board is that it is your responsibility to draw only the funds that are needed against your override authorization, which in this case would only be a fraction of the authorized 15% budget override. The carryover amount noted above could fund the rest of your budget authorization. Excess funds should be applied to reduce the override draw. Carryover funds are not really needed for contingency funding. The district already has substantial contingency reserve funds that is most likely overfunded. Contrary to what has been presented in the media, there's very little financial jeopardy to the district, even if current state budget issues are not resolved. As a point of information, could you please share now the balance of your contingency reserve fund for the public to see? That's a question. It's a point of information. How much is in your contingency reserve fund?
I can't respond to this, Kurt, but I can tell you afterwards
30
what
seconds.
that is. So if Lana will go with you and talk to you about what the,
Okay, that's a point of information.
Yeah.
It's not an opinion.
yeah.
Right? Okay, thank you.
Next is Dr. Angelica First of Chandler to talk about KB policy concerns.
I always feel like I'm at the principal's office. Mr. Hurd, fourth grade, I talk too much. Thank you for having me this evening, Madam President, Superintendent Narducci, and everybody else on the board. I really needed to hear BSU. I needed that for my heart. My name is Dr. Angelica First. I teach French and Spanish, 24 years strong for the Chandler Unified School District. I'm here this evening because I have to fight like hell against the dismantling of public education system from the inside out. In the last 2 weeks, I have felt anger and sadness and disappointment, and like many others, absolute confusion pertaining to the state statutes and our district's KB policy. I am not sure what will be articulated during our 1 minute or 2 minute commentaries, but I want to impress it upon you that by the time each of us is finished, be it pro or con, that 1 or 2 LGBTQI plus youth between the ages of 13 to 24 will have attempted suicide. That's 1 every 45 seconds nationwide. I don't have time or the energy to deal with dehumanizing policies or anti-intellectualism. More importantly, I don't have the heart to do so. I am a servant of the public. I serve all kids. Do we really think that affluent private schools are foregoing the breadth of work of Federico Garcia Lorca because he was gay? I stand before you as someone who will not be handing out permission slips because I will not participate in discriminatory acts. I will not commit a violent crime against my students by handing them permission slips that further marginalize them. It sends a message I simply cannot stand for. To empower all students with the knowledge, skills, and attitude necessary to excel in college, career, and life. That is our mission. That is Chandler Unified. Thank you.
Next is Diane Lundell of Gilbert talking about policy KB.
Hi, good evening to you all. I'm here regarding the discriminatory board policy, KB, and representing multiple teachers and parent voices that are asking for a repeal from the school board members. First of all, I would ask for the school board members to be transparent regarding all the research and data that went into vetting this policy. Is it truly the best way to support the parental involvement 15-102 policy? What are site councils for then? And what are roundtables that invite parents and community members for? If those are not enough, then we need to understand why we need further restrictive policies. Where is the testimony, at the very least, of all the students that have been morally harmed without the parent opt-in policy in the last 90-some years of this district? With the KB policy, U.S. school board members are putting the district standards into question and undermining a vetted curriculum process that already includes and acknowledges parents and students. By being preemptive to the passing of House Bill 2495, the school board is supporting legislation which is very much partisan in our state, and that is truly dividing this community. Please consider at least what is age appropriate when we teach critical thinking.
30 seconds.
Behind you are the works of Georgia O'Keeffe, Frida Kahlo, Kandinsky, among other artists that are taught as part of art masterpiece at the elementary level. We need to develop critical thinking at the high school level. We need to know what inspired these artists, what made them, what formed them, and that involves biography. We should not discriminate these artists. We should not discriminate our LGBT.
Time has expired.
Next is Kristy Mckinney from Chandler, speaking about KB policy.
Hi, my name is Kristy Mckinney. I have 2 children in the district, and I live in the district, and I also work in the district. I am here to speak to the KB board policy. The majority of this board needs to get its priorities in order. You refuse to protect children from a deadly pandemic by refusing to require basic health and safety precautions, and yet you're willing to preemptively require permission slips when there's not even a law that requires that for any lesson that may pertain to sexuality. I personally had to sign a permission slip for my 9th grader to read Romeo and Juliet, of all things. Parents also had to sign permission slips for their children to participate in a cooking class about chicken breast. This is so bad for so many reasons. First, you're teaching children that basic anatomy is something dirty and taboo. That's harmful. Second, this is a breathtakingly bad use of our precious teacher resources. The teacher must plan their lesson, create your form, copy your forms, ensure every student gets one. The student must remember to give the form to their parents who have to read it, get over their laughter, and then fill it out. Then the teacher has to collect the forms, track which students have not returned it, remind those students and give them new copies. Then on top of that, the teacher will likely be required to create a second lesson plan for the students' parents who said, "No, my child can't learn about chicken breast," because they thought the whole form was a joke. This is not a good use of our teachers' time and energy. Please get your priorities in order and focus on issues that actually matter.
Next is Devin Mansan of Chandler to talk about the KB policy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Devin Mansan. I am a Vice President of Students Accepting Students at Chandler High. You probably heard of the KB policy, and it's clear that the board here probably supports this policy. I can see where you're coming from, but I disagree. Let me explain. Decades ago, people were against the LGBTQ community. We were getting hurt or locked up just for our sexuality or gender. Recently, we've been breaking out of that shell, and we strive for people to accept us no matter our identity. Parents always say that they want the best for their children and the future generation. How is that going to work out if the KB policy gets put play into our school, or all schools, for that fact? How is that helping the kids like me? This policy you have placed is unconstitutional. We deal with some discrimination at school, which we're trying to improve. However, implementing this law will be detrimental to the freedom of thought. Thank you. Have a nice rest of your day.
Next is Samuel Coleman of Gilbert to speak about KB policy. Samuel? Yeah, there you go.
Good evening, board members. I would like to talk today from a student's perspective. Personally, I am scared. I'm scared for my fellow students. I'm scared for the kids in my classroom who have parents that will harm them if they're even connected to anything that even barely mentions sexuality. I'm scared for my freedom and for my safety. One of the main reasons I love going to Chandler High is because of how diverse it is and because of how much safer I feel there compared to my other schools. Especially when I got the syllabuses from my teachers at the beginning of the school year. Every single one of them had our diversity statement on it. And each time I read it, I felt protected. It talked about how no student would be discriminated against based on religion, race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. If this passes, that statement will be void. This plan is dangerous for LGBTQ plus students who are already marginalized. This puts young children who would no longer be taught to avoid molesters at risk. I love my school and I love my campus, but I am scared. Thank you for your time.
Next is Corrine Collins from Chandler to talk about KB policy.
Good evening, board members. I'm Corrine Collins, and I'm concerned with the new KB law. Permission slips are usually consent forms for children to stay safe when they go on field trips or watching things. Having the same attitude towards sexuality is what is the danger, because it's shielding children from it. Schools should treat their children equally and have more than just numbers. They should support their passions and help them find their identity, not just for numbers. Not educating children about LGBTQ people does not make them stop being LGBTQ. It just makes the journey so much harder. There is no stopping it. The books and movies that kids watch when they talk about sexuality have great meanings and useful information. Creating an incentive to move teachers away from that is making children miss out on a great learning experience. We are all human beings, and we are deserving of love and having our emotions respected. So please, get rid of this law.
Next is Carolyn Sheridan of Chandler. Talk about the KB policy.
Hi, first, thank you guys. So my name is Caroline Sheridan, and I am a resident. I'm also a teacher at Chandler High School. I teach English and I teach dual enrollment criminal justice. So I also am concerned about this policy. I am 100% in favor of transparency, but this is not transparency. The law underlying this policy states that parents must opt in to any instruction, and this is a quote, learning materials or presentations regarding sexuality. When I first heard this, I thought, all right, no problem. I don't teach sexuality. I teach English and I teach criminal justice. And then I was informed how CUSD is interpreting it. And this is where the problem is. We are stuck with a law. We are not stuck with our interpretation. You can see the damage that this is doing. So somehow I found out that I need permission slips before I can teach Of Mice and Men, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, To Kill a Mockingbird. I can't teach about Emmett Till without a permission slip. Of course, this makes no sense, but it actually got worse. We were instructed that we couldn't teach lessons without permission slips, and I'm told this may have changed. But just because an author was part of the LGBTQ community, that's wrong now, right? That's changed? Or that was misinformation? Okay, so that's not true. I was also told, and this was district email, that if a character was part of the LGBTQ community, I would need a permission slip because a character was a gay or non-binary. We don't need to. I was going to say, imagine how it would feel to be a student and feel that I need a permission slip. People need permission slips to hear about someone like me. It's horrifying, it's offensive, and it's tragic. So I'm running out of time, but this isn't who we are. We can follow the law in a way that doesn't harm our students. That's what we need.
Expired.
Next is Diane Lundell of Chandler to talk about books.
Hello. It was extremely disappointing to find out that our school district is sexualizing our children. It is beyond comprehension to require permission slips in a culinary class. Have you not eaten chicken breast with your kids? Well, and why are we kneecapping our children in culinary class and in other classrooms? And now, after decades of teaching Romeo and Juliet, you're requiring parental permission? Romeo and Juliet teach our children about conflict in families, the power of love, the power of hatred, the seriousness and consequences of our actions, all the while exposing our children to an older, beautiful language of our own. Required permission slips for Death of a Salesman? To show the work of a world-famous playwright where the theme of the American dream to be successful is shown through hard work and not about how much you are liked, and discriminating against gay poets and writers? The best and safest place for our kids to learn is in the classroom with their teachers, and this is stopping that. How can you stand by and let this happen in dual enrollment classes? Why would you allow the dumbing down of our kids? Why would you put them at a disadvantage to other kids going to college? Parents can go to curriculum night, talk to the teachers. Universities and colleges are expecting our kids to be familiar with certain pieces of literature and works, and you are denying them this. All of you are forcing these changes are the ones with the problems. Stop putting sexual proclivities of yours on our children and on our teachers. You want to fight the sexualization of our kids? You want to fight the sexualization of our kids? Fight Twitter. Fight Snapchat. Fight TikTok. That's where it's happening. There is no pornography in the classroom, but there is likely pornography on your students' social media. You want to raise sheltered and ignorant children? Fine. Do it in the many charter and private schools available to you. Public education is not for your benefit. It is for the benefit of our country. It is raising our children to be the best citizens to our country, where our country needs. They don't need ignorant people. Stop with the ridiculous.
Next is Paul Lopiciotti from Chandler to talk about classes.
My name is Paul Apujade. I'm an 11th grader at Chandler High. I'm in all AP and dual enrollment college level classes. And the fact that my teachers are unable to cover certain topics or analyze certain texts just because it could make some kids feel bad or the LGBTQ plus community will be mentioned or any other reason is completely outrageous and entirely arbitrary. The school board has made the choice to go down a dangerous and irresponsible path, and I fear for myself, my peers, and future students if this continues to escalate. And to the members of the board who voted in favor of this policy or enforcement or whatever, you've hindered the education of the students in this district, and you should be ashamed. Those who enroll in college-level classes know the content that will be discussed, and if they can't handle it, it should be up to the parents to transfer their student into an on-level class. My education should not have to be affected. Thank you.
Next is Jacob Betts from Chandler, talk about KB policy.
Hello, my name is Jacob Betts, and I'm a freshman at Chandler High. I think that the policy should not be, the policy should not stop the education of sexuality. The KB policy was made because of the not yet passed law, House Bill 2495, and I'd like to argue that the sexuality part of this bill is invalid because it states, notwithstanding any other law, a public school in the state may not refer students to use any sexually explicit material, and also states sexual conduct means homosexuality. This means unless another law contradicts it, then anything related to homosexuality cannot be taught, except there is a law. Title IV Education Amendments of 1972 states it is illegal for a school to discriminate against you based on your sex. The Department of Education states the basis of sex, it will enforce the Title IV's prohibition of discrimination on the basis of sex to include discrimination based on sexual orientation, discrimination based on gender identity. I definitely say that not talking about homosexuality while talking about heterosexuality is 100% discrimination, which is what the law basically says. So if the policy was made because of the law, then there's really no point in having
30 seconds.
Law. And thank you.
Next is Patty Serrano of Chandler to talk about the KB policy.
Good evening. My name's Patty Serrano, and I'm here to talk also on the KB policy. I joined tonight as a parent who 8 years ago, after much research and vetting of some 10 different school systems and districts, chose to enroll her only child and, in effect, opted in to our district to initiate Maximus's primary academic journey. Not only was I opting into CUSD and CTA Humphrey at the time, I was opting into entrusting my child's education, growth, and care to the expert teachers in our district. The implicit expectation is that my best choice was affording a well-rounded education to my only child, meaning yes, I was knowingly and expectantly opting into Maximus having the opportunity to learn anatomy, physiology, to learn classic literature, the humanities, and more from trained professionals who work hard at their craft just as I do in mine. I choose CUSD every day because I choose its teachers to be in charge of teaching and caring for my child. I do not choose CUSD to tell its teachers what they should be teaching my child. If that were the case, I know that there's homeschooling as an option and alternative. And I most certainly did not choose CUSD to put yet another undue burden on our teachers already teaching under duresses during a pandemic,
seconds.
recognizing we remain 49th in this nation in teacher pay. I did not choose CUSD for busy households to be burdened with permission slips either. I am here to strongly request that this new KB policy, introduced in the middle of a semester, be revoked and that we trust our teachers to teach as they were trained and hired to do.
Thank you.
Next is Katie Nash of Gilbert to talk about the aggregate expenditure limit.
Sorry, I didn't get to choose the order. I didn't want to stop the momentum on policy KB. I am here tonight to ask governing board members to sign on to a pledge to protect public schools. I'm just going to read to you what this says, and then hopefully you will be willing to sign on to it. The Arizona legislature needs to override the constitutional aggregate expenditure limit by March 1st, 2022, or school districts across Arizona will need to cut a total of nearly $1.2 billion, or roughly 16% from their budgets this year. And in CUSD, that total is about $54.4 million. And to the point earlier about contingency funds, we would wipe out nearly all of our contingency funds for this year, and then next year that will mean very large class sizes. So for those of us who enjoy what we say are small class sizes this year, imagine those getting larger by about 5 to 10 students if we have to cut staff or some of our hourly staff. These cuts would further worsen our educator staff shortage, resulting in devastating impacts for our students and communities. And so the pledge says, therefore, I pledge to protect public schools by asking my legislators to pass a bill authorizing school districts to spend funds already budgeted and to avoid further budget cuts this school year, pass the bill without any add-ons like vouchers that could delay its passage, and bring a permanent solution to address and repeal the aggregate expenditure limit for future fiscal years. Thank you.
Next is Jennifer Valencia from Chandler to talk about KB policy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer Valencia, and I am the mom of a child who goes to Chandler High. And I am here to talk about the KB policy, which I am very much against. I feel, as it's written, this policy places a significant burden of extra work on our teachers, who then may have to manage an entire second curriculum if people don't opt in. But most importantly, it muzzles our teachers. We have these great, awesome teachers who come up with this fantastic curriculum. It prevents them from using their full creativity and insightfulness to teach lessons that they often modify on an ongoing basis. So having to do multiple permission slips is really going to hamper our teachers. Very dear to my heart, telling our children that it's taboo to read and learn about LGBT plus people and their struggles, that's a form of prejudice towards the LGBT plus community. LGBT kids already struggle with acceptance and self-esteem, and they may feel unsupported by the school system if this passes. And this may embolden bullies and tacitly reassure them that it's okay to discriminate and pick on minorities, especially LGBT kids. This is a step backwards in the fight for equal rights for everyone. We can't do this to our kids and our teachers. The KB policy, basically, it's going to keep our students away from good literature and current information. It may prevent them from keeping up intellectually with their peers across the nation if they're not allowed access to great literature and books that a lot of the other speakers have mentioned. And basically, I think it's going to be really going against our LGBT
30
students.
seconds.
So I really encourage you guys to do what you can to undo this policy, step it back, help our kids out. You've heard a lot of the kids here tonight talk, and you're going to hear more. They're just a few voices. These kids matter, and we need to do what's right for them. Thank you.
Next is Isabel Valencia to talk about KB policy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isa Valencia, and I, too, am against the KB policy. So I am a Chandler High School student, I am a freshman, and I am also a member of the LGBTQ+ community. The KB policy is discriminatory against LGBTQ+ students and is not the right choice for Chandler. With this new policy, teachers cannot even teach material by gay authors. Again, I've heard that that's wrong. But we are not allowed to read about LGBT characters, non-binary characters, people that we can connect with as students. And that's one of the most important parts about reading literature, is being able to connect with it. Some believe that it is not appropriate to teach about LGBTQ+ history or topics in school. However, this belief is damaging to our LGBTQ+ students. Statistics show that suicide rates are higher in LGBTQ plus teens than heterosexual teens. Enforcing the mindset that LGBTQ plus material and people are inappropriate for discussion in schools can only make this issue worse. We need to protect and support our LGBTQ plus students. That's why I'm against the KB policy. And if you're hearing anything from me right now, I'm a student, I'm LGBT. I know that there are so many teachers, so many students who this is affecting. And we need this policy gone. This cannot pass. Thank you.
Next is Rebecca Kilpack from Gilbert to talk about policy.
Esteemed board members and members of the community, I am honored to be here tonight, and I am concerned deeply about the KB policy. This is a district that I have been so impressed with. There are many kids that I have been involved with. I watch them grow and thrive in this district because it is a district that has been seeking to empower all students to excel in their lives. It has been a safe place for kids who do not have a safe space at home. And this policy, it seeks to damage some very, very safe things. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at research. We have a president, in fact, who put into an executive order that guarantees an educational environment free from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation or gender identity. If you look at the research, it's shameful. 25% of teachers feel like they cannot act when they see discrimination in a school setting, simply because they do not have the backing of the administration, of their school boards, the same way that they do with race and with other gender issues. I have 2 Black daughters who are members of the LGBTQ community. I have watched the struggles that they have. I have watched these other children who fight. I have watched my children's friends fight for inclusion. And having policies that take those means of connection
30 seconds.
does significant harm. I have watched my own child struggle deeply. I have made horrific decisions to protect her mental health and well-being, and I cannot stand silently and watch more children be impacted in the same way, nor teachers who seek to create safe spaces, because schools should be one of the ultimate safe spaces for kids.
Next is Alice Coleman of Gilbert to talk about policy change.
Hi. I'll try not to cry up here, but as many others before me have said, I have recently just heard of this policy, and honestly, I find it so ridiculous. Sorry. I'm good. I'm not part of my, okay, sorry. I'm just here to support anyone and my family. And today I want to read to you a poem that I wrote about a social issue of the inclusion of the LGBTQ plus community. My poem is called "They're Afraid to Go Outside." Holed up in a closet and crushed under scrutinizing stares, they're afraid to go outside where others will surely laugh. The others will tell them that they can't love the same gender, that who they believe they are won't be good enough, that whatever they feel is fake. However, they do whatever it takes to prove the others wrong. They'll stand up and sing their song. Their hands may be tied, the box they're trapped in may be locked shut. Although others will try again and again to put them down and say their gender's fake, they'll stand up tall. Breaking those chains that have wound its way around their chest, they can only hope that others will understand.
30 seconds.
When they finally show their true self, only then can they jump off that shelf they climbed so high. Holed up in a closet and crushed under the weight of scrutinizing stares, they're afraid to go outside. Thank you.
Next is Shannon Moxley of Chandler to talk about KB policy.
Good evening. The board policy asks us to repeatedly seek permission for teaching curriculum that uses vetted, district-approved texts. We already give our busy parents advanced informed notice with a student handbook and syllabi that gets signed at the start of each school year, and our entire curriculum can be found online. We are already informing parents, so many teachers have been left to wonder why our district would ask us to seek permission for teaching facts about history, literature, and authors over and over again anytime there is a lesson that refers to anything that alludes to sexuality. In a robust mission statement, this governing board states that there is an unwavering commitment to diversity, equity, and collaboration. At a minimum, the board policy puts even more responsibility on teachers to constantly seek permission, manage responses, and then craft alternative lessons and placement of students. Quite honestly, the minimum is the least of my worries. Significantly and more disturbingly, this policy makes it seem like you're asking us to do the opposite of CUSD's mission statement and exclude lessons of diversity, omit the lessons of history, and oppress the LGBTQ+ community. I'm disappointed beyond measure in this extreme response to the state law, and frankly, I'm disappointed that anyone thought that requiring parent permission to teach district-approved literature, and we were told, even if an author happens to be gay, in writing, over email, or requiring explicit parent permission to answer students' questions about factual events in history class is not a major violation of ethics, let alone civil rights. We can operate within the confines of the state law and endeavor to still meet our district's longstanding reputation, mission, and best practices that we've been following for years. Our response is to teach the same standard we've been teaching to. This policy is a solution in search of a problem. The teachers of this district are trying to follow the district's vision. We teach facts, literature, history, it's all true, but we also act as role models of acceptance, people who celebrate diversity, and people who are willing to come here and stand up for what's right. Thank you.
Next is Chelsea Grieve to talk about, I don't have the city here, talk about Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Grieve. I'm a resident here in Chandler, and I am a representative of the City of Chandler Domestic Violence Commission. And although we're switching gears just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and say it kind of falls right back into that wheelhouse. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. It doesn't get a lot of discussion in the community, but it is a huge problem. In the last year, 1.5 million youth between the ages of 11 and 18 experienced dating violence. This is physical, sexual, emotional. It can come through technology. And a lot of times these relationships are developing as they're interacting with their peers in school environments. Although domestic violence never discriminates, everyone is at risk, it is seen at higher rates in LGBTQ+ communities, as well as communities of color. The earlier youth experience dating violence, the likelihood of risk later on increases. What this means is that you could have an 11-year-old experiencing domestic violence. That 11-year-old is likely to die in their 20s.
30 seconds.
By being murdered by a domestic violent perpetrator. And the reason why we're here today to kind of talk about these facts is that we want to raise awareness on this subject that is so hard for people to talk about. And emphasize the importance of modeling healthy relationships and incorporating these conversations into our school environments. Thank you.
And finally, Polly Knape talking about the Teen Dating Violence Awareness.
Hi, I'm Polly Knapp. I am the chair for the Chandler Domestic Violence Commission here. And like Chelsea said, our purpose tonight was just to come and reach out to the board and provide some resources to raise awareness surrounding the teen dating violence issue, because it's Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So that was our purpose here tonight. So we have had the opportunity to work with CUSD and the counseling department to set up lunchtime tabling at some of the high schools. And this has gone really well in years past, but we kind of lost our momentum with COVID, right, when things weren't happening in person anymore. So we just want to ask for the support of the community and also the school board and kind of getting our momentum back with those, just to provide resources and education and fun activities for our kids to help them recognize, help each other, and overcome any sort of adverse circumstance that they may be seeing. So that's all. We just have the resources for the board.
That's our last speaker tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Locke. Dr. Gilbert?
Thank you. Well, can you hear me? The first thing I would like to say is, students, thank you for coming, and I appreciate your courage to come to this meeting and express your concerns with the policy. I think there's some things I think that's real important, and because I was part of in addressing this policy, that at no point I can tell you that when we were deciding how to address this policy, which is based on legislation, at no time was it that we should not be addressing or learning about LGBTQ in our community, first and foremost. Putting that on record so you understand that that was not the intent. I think what's real important also is that the legislation that caused us to change this policy is not what you're seeing going through the legislation now. What you're seeing going through the legislation now is to build on what was passed in the last legislative session, which is what was referred to by one of the speakers in regards to ARS, which is 15102, which addresses if there's sexuality talked about in the classroom, and I'll read what that says. If you want to see it, you can go to Arizona Revised Statute. That's 15102. That the title of it is related to, parent involvement in school. Here's what's important is this policy was brought before the board on November 10th, and then it was brought back to the board on December 8th for approval. That's when we had this discussion about this policy and the policy having to do with legislation that passed in previous legislative sessions. So I think that's real important that it wasn't something that we're trying to do now for something that's in legislative now. I would suggest if you haven't taken the time, you might want to look at the legislative bills that are actually running through legislative now if this policy concerns you, just as a thought for yourself. Within that, in setting up things through the governing board, the legislation, which is number 5 on that ARS, procedures by which parents will be notified in advance of and given the opportunity to opt their children in to any instruction, learning material, presentation regarding sexuality in courses other than formal sex education. That becomes real important because we already know that within our district, and not in every district, we have sex education classes within our district. This was very specific to be aside from that to look at other content areas. That's why that legislation was written, and we had to address how we were going to make sure we haven't had in any legislation, for the most part, of opting in. It's always been opting out, that if you're in the classroom, you're in there unless a parent pulls you out. This legislation was very specific about opting in. So there wasn't anything that we took with what's happening now. It was something that happened in previous legislation. The other piece is, from the beginning, I've had conversations with everyone in our department that we're not asking our teachers to stop teaching what they are teaching. The issue with this policy has to do with the permission slip, not to stop teaching it. There are quality teachers, there's quality content within our district that we need to continue teaching. If we want to talk about losing history, that's been part of the conversation within the community and within the state and within the United States for a long time. I will count that as Craig Gilbert's response as a comment. So when you look at what we're doing with policy, our policies are based on legislation that is passed, that we have to put in policy because of the legislation. So I understand and I appreciate the comments that we've had today, but part of this also belongs to the legislators that are putting these legislation in place that we are required to follow because it is law. One of the things that we have been doing, and I've been working with our team, is we know that there's going to be concerns that come up when you put in new policy. So we have to continue to work through that. I would say for those that said there was an email or documentation that if there was a book by an author that was LGBTQ, please send it to me, because that's the first I've heard of that you cannot do that. So if you want to send me that, I'd appreciate it. All right, so that's where we are, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue to improve on what we have to do in addressing the legislation and addressing the policy that we have in place.
What about parents that signed the syllabi in the first year? Didn't we all then?
Well, if you give me a moment, I will speak and answer your question. The issue is, in the beginning of the year with a syllabi, if that syllabi is clear on everything that you are teaching, which unfortunately has not been the case in all of syllabi, and that has been part of the issue with this legislation that went through. But we can, after this, we can talk more about that, because I needed to explain, clarify what the policy was and why it took place.
Thank you, Dr.
Gilbert. And I think you explained it very well. Evidently, we're responding to this because there's a lot of concern, and we take that very seriously. We are not going to take books away from you reading great literature. I want our whole public knowing and leaving here knowing that that is not the case of this. I do want to comment on Dr. Gilbert's comment. We need to be very astute as to what laws are coming down, because once they become statute, yes, we can work with those, but we have to follow those. I'm saying it's our job to review, to hear the concerns, to apply your concerns to what we're doing. We will continue to do that. But I do want individuals to know that it doesn't matter who writes a book. If it's great literature, it will be read. We are not going to destroy classics. As a matter of fact, in some of the new legislation, it defines some of this with classics. We will continue to make sure. Many of the students did a great job of expressing. Your poem was wonderful. But you expressed it very well here, and you did it very respectful. And I want to commend you. Not many times do I get voice around things that are sometimes out of our control, but that we put into policy. So we will review. Dr. Gilbert, Jessica Edgar, Dr. Edgar, they consistently review. They went out and received some feedback as well, and I appreciate that. So we will continue to do that. Because there were so many items, and because items came across my desk, I did ask Dr. Gilbert to address the legislative piece, because there was some confusion as to where that came out. And there was some confusion whether we went out to I don't know, go past what needed to happen there. So we definitely need to look at the impacts, and that we do not put ultra burden on our teachers. And we take that serious all the time. So I do want to say that your input's been heard. We definitely will look into additional measures to make recommendations to our board, but we cannot make recommendations that are legislated to us any different. So guarantee that. So I can't comment on that anymore. I can talk to you after here, which I'm more than happy to, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone coming out this evening to talk about KB and the dating violence issue, and AEL, Katie. And so thank you so much. We do hear you, and we do appreciate what you have to say. And thank you again for being here this evening. We will move on to our next item, which is our consent agenda. And
before we go, thank you, President Marsden. Dr. Gilbert, would you mind, you had a question, right? Would you mind just getting that input here after? Thank you. And the only reason I'm saying that is I've got about 15 pages to read, okay? But I wanted to make sure that you had your chance to ask your question, okay? He's going to go and you can go right outside here and he'll listen to your question. I get the opportunity to assign people to hear further stories, so he's my right-hand guy to hear that story tonight. Thank you. I have the consent agenda. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. And again, we have a large consent agenda. Out-of-state student travel and planning, out-of-state field trip pre-planning forms for Hamilton High School is provided. Following governing board pre-approval, the superintendent designee, which is Dr. Gilbert, will monitor trip arrangements before providing final approval. The governing board will receive a summary of the final travel arrangements quarterly. Field trip approval will be determined on a case-by-case basis and will be contingent upon current health guidelines. I can't wait until we can drop that piece, hopefully, if things keep going in the right direction. Monetary gifts, we request the approval of the monetary gifts generously donated to Chandler Unified Schools totaling $39,395.43. Donations, request approval of the items generously donated to Chandler Unified School Districts totaling $14,406.95. COSD 301 pay for performance, our PFP plan for 21-22. According to ARS statute 15-977, the Classroom Site Fund requires that a school district governing board must adopt a performance-based compensation system in order to allocate funding from the Classroom Site Fund. The 21-22 Proposition 301 Pay for Performance Plan has no changes from last year's plan and has been approved by the district's Super Prop Committee. Anticipated payments of $3,200 per staff member to be paid in 2021-22. Also, there'll be no professional development requirements, and the COSD pay for performance plan has two components, which will be based on 50% or $1,600 and is contingent upon the Journey 2025 district achievement goals, or our metrics, being met, and 50% or $1,600 is based on teachers' performance classification, and that's based on their annual evaluation. The 2021-22 Proposition 301 Pay for Performance Plan was presented at a public hearing at the January 26, 2022 board meeting by Dr. Gilbert, and we recommend a final approval. RFP 85-22-26 Marketing Services. A request for proposal, or an RFP, was issued by Chandler Unified School District on AZ purchasing for district-wide marketing services. 5 vendors submitted a proposal. They were Davidson Beluso, Entravision, First Strategic, Hubbard Broadcasting, 2060 Digital, and the Colibri Collective. A committee of 3 evaluators with public relations and marketing backgrounds evaluated the responses based upon a set of evaluation criteria. It was determined by the committee that the Colibri Collective provided marketing services that would best meet the interests and the needs of the district. The marketing services contract will be for 1 year with the option to renew on an annual basis of 4 additional years. Requesting board approval for the award of RFP 85-22-26 marketing services to the Colibri Collective, with services to begin in the 21-22 school year. Under item 8.06, contract increase better lessons, the board approved annual contracts with estimated expenditures or spending on June 9th, 2021. At that time, $15,000 was estimated for better lesson, which was utilizing CUSD SAVE contract 07-21-25 for staff development and leadership training. Due to COVID, Better Lesson has been utilized more than originally anticipated, since the professional development courses they offer are virtual. The CUSD Human Resources Department is also partnering with Better Lesson on a project for new teacher support. The district is requesting approval to increase the total amount to $250,000 to cover additional expenses for professional development that may occur during the remainder of this school year. IGA between CUSD and the University of Arizona for dual enrollment courses is our next item. The intergovernmental agreement between Chandler Unified School District and the University of Arizona for dual enrollment courses effective January 1st, 2022 through 2026, the 27 school year, is presented. This IGA is a 5-year renewal of the existing IGA, which was set to terminate in 2021. Eligible Arizona College Prep High School, Basha High School, and Chandler High School students will have the opportunity to earn U of A credit. This is in MCB 101 or MCB 102 for the CUSD CTA courses. I'm sorry, CTE courses, which you heard of from from Mrs. Duran. Biotechnology and Biotechnology 2, our dual credit costs for the student is $158.33 per credit, $400 through $475 per 3-credit course. Legal counsel has reviewed the approved agreement, and board approval authorizes the superintendent to take such further action and execute such documents to carry out the intention of this agreement. Again, this expands our CTA offerings and provides those opportunities for our students. 808 is an MOA, which is a memorandum of agreement between Rio Salado and CUSD for ESL instruction for parents of Title I students. In the memorandum of agreement between the Maricopa County Community College District on behalf of the Rio Salado College, College Bridge Pathways, and Chandler Unified School District for the provision of ESOL basic literacy and GED classes is presented. Rio Salado College would provide instructors for adult English language classes to be held in our district for parents who are interested in improving their English or general literacy skills. Classes through Rio Salado College can be offered either in person or virtually. Rio Salado College also provides their own curriculum as well as pre and post assessments to differentiate instruction. Cost of this agreement is approximately $5,400 for up to 25 participants for a 12-week class to be funded by our federal grants. Recommend approval. Item 809 is a resolution for application to receive advanced state aid. Pursuant to ARS 15-973C, a district may petition the superintendent of public instruction for advanced payment of state aid if current obligations are such that opportunities prescribed in ARS 15-973B will not be made in a timely manner. To meet those obligations, and so long as no more than 3/4 of the total state aid apportionment is received prior to April 15 of the fiscal year. By doing so, the district will reduce the need for registering warrants and tax anticipation notes, resulting in a savings to the district. Therefore, it is recommending that the board approve a resolution petitioning the superintendent of public instruction for advanced payments of state aid. And again, that whole resolution there just helps us to save money and not have to go out and ask for every time we need a warrant. 810 is a statement of assurance, teacher evaluation system status for the 22-23 school year. The governing board is designated Dr. Jeff Falloon, Director of Human Resources, to sign on behalf of the governing board the teacher evaluation statement of assurance. The statement confirms both that the district system is in compliance with ARS 15-537, a system to evaluate the performance of certified teachers in the school district that results in at least one evaluation of each certified teacher by a qualified evaluator, and ARS 15-952, paragraph C, monies have or will be expended solely for teacher compensation. This will allow Dr. Falloon to go into EMAC or EMAC and finalize the process that permits our district to receive an additional 1.25% in base level support to the budget. And then the last one is 811, Human Resources. We recommend employment separation and compensation agreements herein.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci, for that very long consent agenda this evening. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. We have no action items for this evening. And our next is student activity, auxiliary operations, and tax credit reports. Mrs. Berry.
Madam President, members of the board, the student activities, auxiliary operations, and tax credit reports for the months ending July 2021 through January of 2022 are provided for your review.
Thank you, Mrs. Berry. Are there any questions from the board? I see there's very little red ink on those. It looks like your team is doing a very good job of working with some of the sites to get everything in A-plus order.
Melissa Brantine and Lauren Randall work really hard, along with a number of women that work in the bookstores and in our office. So they do a great job, and they're trying to make sure they move money if it gets coded incorrectly and communicate and educate the sites also at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next is our second quarter technology report. Mr. Fletcher.
Madam President, members of the board, the second quarter technology report is presented for your information.
Are there any questions, comments from the board? Mr.
None
Olive?
that they didn't take care of for me already.
Okay. I do like the way the two reports are and showing where things are going and subtracting it out of inventory, and I do like the new method of reporting this. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. We will now move to our CUSD board agenda roadmap. And our, slow with opening. Our next meeting is February 23rd, and we will be looking at budget and contracts, it looks like, for effective resource management. Are there any other? And then our meeting after that will be March 9th. Mr. Narducci, any time for our superintendent comments?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Just a few comments. We celebrated a lot of individuals tonight, and in addition to tonight's presentation, it's important to note contributions of former Mayor Coy Payne, who also is the namesake for Payne Junior High School, and also the school that Dr. Gilbert also had the opportunity to open as administrator at the school. He was the first African American mayor in Arizona, right here in Chandler, being elected as recently as 1990. I'd like to thank Dr. Salou, who worked with our graphic artists to create screensavers for all network computers throughout the district that are out and up and operational for February, as well as to bring relevance into the presentation, the Night of Excellence that is out there. So we appreciate all that, and we also appreciate all of the achievements of all of our students. And so it was nice to recognize a few tonight. We have a few more highlights that I'd like to share, and one of them starts with our own Donna Nye, which is right behind me. She may be behind me, but she is such an inspiration to all of us. She has been nominated as our Apple recipient, which will be also celebrated in April. And so she was unanimously picked for her ability to not only herd the superintendent, but also to herd 5 board members and to be able to keep them going all in the right direction. So I'd like to thank Donna for her service, her continued service, which for 17 years, you had the opportunity to learn and work with Dr. Camille Castile. And this year, she's making sure that I do things right as well. So do appreciate it, and I just wanted to give her a shout out, and I know all the board members are very excited about that. Also, let's start with a staff recognition. I want to congratulate Carrie Zatar, who is a 4th grade teacher at Weinberg Gifted Academy. She was named the finalist in the Teacher of Excellence Awards by the University of Arizona's Center for Recruitment and Retention of Mathematics Teachers. This is their version of the Educator of the Year. Carrie's placement as a finalist is indicative of what a fabulous teacher she is. We are very proud of her and the difference she's making at Weinberg Gifted Academy. But speaking of math, Rice Elementary School and Knox Gifted Academy placed the highest in their divisions of charter schools and public schools. Rice Elementary placed first in Division 6 and second place overall for the state of Arizona during the recent Math League competition. And congratulations to the Rhinos and teachers Jennifer Kramer and Robin Bills for bringing out the best in their students. Also, Knox Gifted Academy, who are involved in quite a bit of things, also placed in the top 3 as well. And again, that's of all publics and charters and privates. So I think we had some wonderful representation there, and just want to give a shout out to those teachers and those kids who actually go above and beyond to participate in these types of things. They don't happen just on a regular basis. ACP High School Robotics and Basha High School Cybersecurity received grants from the new Intel Equity in STEAM initiative. Each grantee received $2,500 to support a new and continuing project to inspire underrepresented students to consider STEAM careers and YWCA Equity Leadership Learning Series. So that was a nice push for those two programs. And the Chandler Innovation Fair is right around the corner. I know a lot of you have enjoyed that. This year's Chandler Innovation Fair is a collaboration or a collaborative event with the City of Chandler. It's going to be held on February 19th from 10 a.m. to 3. There will be some awards that are given there also after the presentation. We have it in the outdoors in downtown Chandler as well as the 125 East Commonwealth. We'll put more information on our website so people can get to the event. Great to see the accomplishments of our students as well as those that are participating in competitions. It's a free community event in part of the statewide Arizona SciTech Festival and offers hands-on opportunities to explore and discover science happenings in Chandler. I want to thank Ms. Renee Sweden, who was director of our curricular and extracurricular programs, for efforts on behalf of CUSD to make what looks like a very promising event again this year. And I'd just like to ask our parents, as you take your younger students there, even if they didn't participate in the event, there's so many hands-on activities to learn from that we would encourage their participation. It's just it's a great community event and celebrating innovation. Bachelor High student, and this is phenomenal. One of our Bachelor High students made national news this last week. You may have seen it in a segment of the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, who featured Jaden Ocampo for her senior project to raise money and pay down student debt for 7 CUSD teachers. It was such an inspirational story as she made the rounds to CTA Independence, Santan Junior High, Navarrete Elementary, San Marcos Elementary, and Hamilton High School with $1,000 scholarships. We had invited Jaden to our February 23rd meeting, and we will show the news clip at that time. If you didn't see it, just an inspiration that she went and she just actually did something out of the ordinary without even being expected to do it. That makes an impact on our teachers. So our kids, yeah, they're learning in the classroom, but they're learning for life, and it's just so simple to see. So Jaden, thank you. I'm shouting out to you, and we look forward to having you at our next meeting so we can see that video clip as well. And finally, I'm excited to share that Hartford Sylvia Encinas School has been named an A+ School of Excellence. We just released that yesterday by the Arizona Educational Foundation. The AEF has identified and honored exemplary pre-kindergarten through 12th grade public schools in Arizona since 1983. The A+ School of Excellence Award is the highest state-level recognition an Arizona public school may receive. I'd like to congratulate on behalf of all of us, Heather Anguiano, and the entire staff for this honor. We'll bring them to a special recognition at a future board meeting, but first we want to do the celebration at the school. They receive their banner. This is a celebration of community. It's a celebration of teaching and learning, and it's a celebration of the whole child. There's so many things that go into, besides a rigorous program, that go into educating a child, and this award actually contributes to that. So a very hard application that has to be filled out, and then a very hard review process of a lot of interviews with parents, students, teachers, and administration before it's awarded. So congratulations to the Hartford community. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. Do board members have any comments? Mr. Olive?
I did ask, Mr. Narducci, I did send you an email to ask for a copy of the KB policy and the law that's associated with it. We need to look at that a little bit more and just sanity check what we're doing. I mean, all of us. So that was it.
Thank you. Mr. Worth, do you have anything?
Just a quick comment. I noticed early on there was a comment related to the budget from the community. I still want to just people to understand that we're still funded 49th in the nation in funding of education. So please consider that when you make those kind of decisions on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Bruner? Ms. Love? All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, and we will see you again on February 23rd, I believe. Have a great evening. Meeting is adjourned.